Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. But let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Wisdom of Pearl, who says, am I the arsehole for refusing to remove a photo of my husband and myself before we attend a wedding? This past weekend we attended my husband's cousin's wedding. It was in the same state but not near where we live, so we stayed at a hotel near the venue. This hotel has a beautiful fountain out in front. While we waited for our vehicle to be brought around, we had a bellman take our picture in front of the fountain. Neither my husband nor myself were part of the wedding party. We were simply guests at the wedding. Husband was dressed in a suit and tie and I was in a burgundy cocktail dress. The bride and groom did request that no one take pictures during the ceremony or the reception. We both honoured this request. In fact, we took no pictures at the venue at all. I noticed several people taking photos at the venue before the ceremony and between the ceremony and reception. The following day, I shared the photo on social media of my husband and myself taken at our hotel before we went to the wedding. I did not mention the wedding or use the wedding hashtag or anything. There have been several people posting photos on social media taken at the venue and using the wedding hashtag and even tagging the bride and groom. My husband's aunt has texted me asking me to remove the photo because we are wearing what we wore to the wedding in the photo, and her daughter, the bride, wants to share the first wedding photos. I said I didn't see a problem because our photo was not taken at the venue and was not linked to the wedding or the bride and groom. And besides, there are dozens of other photos that were taken at the venue and tagged with the wedding or the bride and groom, including the bride's own brother who was in the wedding party and has posted at least a dozen photos. Aunt says she is trying to get them all taken down, but she doesn't even know everyone who has posted photos. So am I the arsehole for not removing the photo of us before we went to the wedding? And we do have an update in a second, but inevitably you says not the arsehole. I can see that they wanted to be the first ones, but as you stated, it's not at the venue per their demand, so I don't see a problem with you posting a picture you took before the wedding. To which Prismine's reply saying, I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain why I have been hearing a lot of this sentiment lately. The wedding party not wanting photos taken or not wanting themselves in a photo or no photos can be shared. Why? Why did people find another thing to unreasonably expect folks to follow some weird ass rules? Oh, social media. It's because of Instagram, guys. Not the arsehole OP. You might want to start asking the wedding party when you can post your own personal photos, like every time. It would be considered a thing to do. /sarcasm. GM Pax replies to that one saying, it probably grew out of people interfering with the hired professional photographer doing the job they were paid for, and the good ones aren't cheap. I've read stories of people stepping in front of the official photographer and their $2,000 camera to take crappy pictures with a disposable camera, or of many pictures the photographer does take being ruined by 40 bazillion other camera flashes going off right at the key moment and so on. And these are pictures of once in a lifetime blink and you miss it moments. Once the official photo is blocked or ruined, there's no do-overs. So no photography during the ceremony or reception is probably just an effort to protect the investment the bride and groom have made on having a professional taking those pictures. I can also easily see why the bride and groom might want to be the very first people to share photos related to the wedding. Asking guests to delay sharing their own photos, even slightly related to it, is not, in my opinion, unreasonable. Not that such a request seems to have been made in the first place this time. Damn, and that comment reminded me of a wedding I went to last year, and the photographer there was a really good photographer, was really commanding the room and sort of getting people, not too much, but just the right amount. And he was trying to get everyone to some stairs so we could take like a massive group photo of everyone in the wedding. So he was trying to get people slowly milling over, still chatting and stuff, and he was shouting their name. And it took about 10 minutes or so to get everyone to these steps. He explained the situation to him while people were still talking and being rude, and I was feeling really anxious about the situation. I was like, will you guys just please shut up? He's trying to get this photo done, then we can go and do what we need to do, right? But a minute before he's about to take this photo, one of the people stepped out, like a family member, with their own little phone camera, their iPhone or whatever it was, and stood in front of the photographer and said, just going to take a quick snap because this is perfect. And then took a photo, and then someone else did it. And I thought, oh my God, is this going to carry on forever? And he just went, no, this needs to stop. And I was like, oh shit. And you just think, what goes through their mind to do that? You know, it's a professional photographer, which someone else is paid for, and you jump in front of them thinking you're going to take up their time. But C-Ad says, not the arsehole, it's a ridiculous request. Just because you're wearing the same outfits as the ones at the wedding doesn't give them the right to ask you to take down the photo. You honoured their request not to take pictures at the actual wedding. You're perfectly within your rights to politely say no and ignore them if they keep asking. And Stanon B says, not the arsehole, you were polite enough to honour the couple's request that their ceremony and reception be an exclusion zone for all but official photography. Retroactively expanding that to at a different hotel before the wedding even started because you were wearing clothes you wore to the wedding is simply bizarre. So then OP updates the post saying, the stepfather of the bride contacted me late today. The bride doesn't want my photo removed. Apparently the aunt/MOB best friend took photos of the bride and bridesmaids before the wedding in their dresses and posted them on social media. Members of the bridal party distracted her and gained access to her phone during the reception. They deleted the photos not just from her social media accounts but from her phone. She was upset and she insisted that aunt/MOB make everyone else remove any photos they had posted. Aunt/MOB felt pressured by her friend and began contacting people. She ended having a major anxiety attack and ended up in urgent care this evening. Aunt/MOB has now cut contact with her friend, and friends and family have been told they're free to post selfies and similar photos for the wedding, but asked not to post photos of the bride and groom. And a commenter broke this one down just in case anyone didn't get it, but Cherry Red 130 says, the comments here seem super confused and not seeing the full picture, so here is a condensed explanation of the post for you lovelies. Aunt's BFF took a pic of the bride in their dress before the wedding and posted it, which the groom could have seen. The bridal party deleted it off the social media and also off the phone itself, pissing off Aunt's BFF, who made the aunt tell everyone to delete their pics from the wedding, leading to OP being asked to delete her post. This overwhelmed Aunt to the point of hospitalization due to an anxiety attack and has cut ties with the BFF. Gee bloody whiz, what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Would you have deleted that photo? Let us know your comments down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a deleted user who says, I, 24 female, just found out that my boyfriend's 27 male ex is pregnant. So I started talking to a guy in the beginning of July and we met for the first time about a week later. We hit it off very well and just vibed from the get-go. We both fell fast and hard. We both have expressed how we have never felt a love this strong before. It honestly has felt like something out of a movie. He has told me he knows he is going to marry me one day. We said I love you to each other a few weeks after we started dating because it just felt right. I know it sounds crazy. We both made comments about how this isn't normal, how fast we moved along in our relationship, but just feels right. We made it official at the end of August, but now it's been almost 2 months of us dating. He just told me last night though that his ex reached out about a week ago, told him she's pregnant. He thought it wasn't real and just drama, so wanted to wait until she went to the doctors to confirm. She did finally go and she is pregnant. We talked about it and he was honest that a few days before we met, he ended up hooking up with her. She is about 8 weeks pregnant. I don't know what I should do. I love him and I don't want to leave, but I'm also really hurt and don't know how to go about this situation. Any advice would be helpful. So then there were some relevant comments from OP which said, I'm not hurt about him sleeping with his ex. I understand that he didn't cheat. He has told me he wants to have kids with me and I'm upset that I no longer get to make him a dad. Someone else did and that's a first we no longer get to experience. Next comment says, I'm not trying to butt in. I have already told him I support him as a partner and will be there for him in any way I can. I'm not making this about me. I respect the mother of his child and the fact that he wants to be an active parent. I just don't want to throw away a good relationship because of outside drama, but also don't know if it's worth the drama or headache for myself. Next comment says, thank you for your advice. Apparently they have tried making things work before in the past and it hasn't worked. Before she found out that she was pregnant, she had tried in the last couple of months coming back and trying to make things work, but he is done. He said the relationship was very toxic and exhausting and that every time she said she changed and they tried again, it was all talk and she would go back to her ways again. Has already said he does not want to be with her, but he's conflicted on what to do and how to be there for the baby without being with her. He doesn't want to lose me either, but is worried that this will make us fight more, which I'm sure will happen, and he doesn't want to deal with that. Next comment, she's been getting to get back with him for months now. Even a few weeks after we started dating, she showed up crying, asking to try again, and he said no, he's done. Too toxic of a relationship. They were always fighting, and every time he gave her another chance, she didn't change. I honestly feel like this was a last-ditch effort to keep him around, but don't want to assume and can't say. She definitely wants to keep it. It does suck though. OP's next comment, I'm concerned on the impact this has on my boyfriend. I'm also upset in general though. I have every right to be. There's a lot of mixed emotions. I'm happy for him as he has always wanted kids. I know he's going to be an amazing dad since his was never there for him, and it's a big deal for him. I'm upset that my fairy tale has been ruined, but I feel like that's normal, and I'm just trying to also be a supportive partner, even though this situation isn't ideal. And OP says he unfortunately did not use protection, and trusted she would get the Plan B pill. Oh my word. Next comment says, honestly, at this point, who knows? I agree he was dumb and it's stupid. It's unfortunate for sure. A commenter questions OP and says, check the math on your timeline, because she's either further along than 8 weeks or he hooked up with her later than a few days before you first met. You're in the getting to know you, honeymoon stage of your relationship. Maybe it is the case that you're a perfect match, but there's absolutely no way for you to know that yet. No matter how strongly you feel about this guy, you just haven't known him very long at all. Figuring out your long-term compatibility with someone takes, well, time. Give it a chance if you want to, but you don't need to feel like you're making a commitment here, and you definitely should not approach this as a commitment right now. OP says, I question the timeline too at first. I know they determine it based on the start of your last period. I didn't have that information though, obviously, so no way to really know. The commenter says, correct me if I read wrong, but a woman who was 8 weeks pregnant had sex 6 weeks ago, who was having sex with her while dating you. OP replies saying, I've honestly been thinking about this all day now. You're correct, the math doesn't add up. So she's either lying about him being the dad or he's lying about hooking up with her while we were dating. I'll bring this up to his attention so he can confirm if it really is or not. I think a paternity test will need to be done for sure. Then OP comes in with a new post saying, BF broke up with me today. My boyfriend broke up with me today. I've been dumped many times now and this hurts the most. Mainly because of all the other ones I saw coming. This one was out of left field though. He just found out his ex is pregnant with twins and they're his and didn't think it would be fair to drag me along for the craziness of this all. He's also just having a really hard time with all of this and he knows he won't have the time to give me the attention I deserve. He said he hopes it's just a pause for right now, but also knows I can't just sit and wait, but said, who knows what the future holds. My heart hurts. We both love each other very much and agreed if none of this was happening, then we wouldn't be breaking up right now. And that's what sucks about it. We both wanted this to be a forever thing. I don't know how I'm going to move on or if I will ever be able to. A commenter says, he did you a favor, and from your last post it seems like he was sleeping with his ex while he was love bombing you. You'll be fine. This was the most selfless thing he could have done for you. And I promise you, a more honest and worthy individual will come along. OP says he wasn't sleeping with her while we were together. She ended up being 13 weeks, not 8 weeks, and it's twins. He's honest, but he's doing what's best for both of us right now. Another commenter says, did you ask him to clarify the math of when the ex got pregnant? OP said yes, she ended up being 13 weeks pregnant, which means it happened a couple of weeks before we met. Which sucks, but that's life, I guess. And this one just felt like so much like the honeymoon period of a relationship here where everything is perfect, everything is going great. I'm not saying that you can't move on and have the best relationship, get married, have kids and all that sort of stuff, but it just felt so fast. And once I was reading like OP's comments and it said he unfortunately did not use protection and trusted she would get the Plan B pill. And the fact that it's saying he does not want to be with her and, you know, it's a toxic relationship and they were always fighting. But instead of using protection, he's relying on the Plan B. I mean, people use protection. Holy moly. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it if you was OP? Would you want to stay with this guy or not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below and let's move on to another story. Now, this next story comes from a throwaway account who says, am I the arsehole for telling my wife she either starts working or her adult kids pay rent? I've been married to my wife for 5 years. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage, Jason, 22 male, and Carla, 19 female. When we were married, my wife still had 50-50 custody of her kids and she wanted to move into my house. I converted the attic into a bedroom so both of her kids and us could have our own rooms. Their father is present in their life, so I was pretty much designated the guy that married their mum, and I'm fine with that. I sorely underestimated how much having 2 teenagers in the house would increase bills. When I was single, I could do my mortgage and bills fine on my own. Post-marriage, everything but the mortgage has gone up, not including spending money for the kids and the extracurriculars. My wife got child support from her ex and some extra help with her expenses, which helped a bit while she had it. But I still had to dip into my savings a lot. It was really important to my wife to be a stay-at-home mum until they graduated. It was tight, but we made it work. Jason moved out after graduating high school to attend college out of state when Carla graduated last year. We agreed she could have 1 year to figure if she'd be moving out or applying to nearby schools. Currently, she's not working or in school. A few days ago, I go into the kitchen and my wife's on the phone with Jason and she told him that he was more than welcome to move back in and she was excited to see him when he got here. After she hung up, I told her that she should have run that by me first so we could discuss it. I wasn't opposed to it, but I told her he should know what he'd be expected to contribute if he's moving in. She responded that she had always told her kids that they would always be welcomed home whenever they wanted and not have to worry about expenses. I told my wife that was really nice of her, but she made that arrangement with her ex-husband when they were married. She didn't make that arrangement with me. If Jason moved back in, he'd have to pay rent to pitch in with groceries and utilities he'd be using, and it probably should be the same for Carla. So it's not one sibling paying while the other isn't. She said they're her kids and shouldn't have to pay to live at home. So I told her if she felt so strongly about her kids not pitching in now that they're adults, she could go back to work. She's been sleeping in Jason's old room since. We're still debating it and her parents have chimed in with their 2 cents. I shouldn't be making kids pay to live at home. My whole thing is, they're not kids anymore. When they are 40, they'll still be her kids. That doesn't mean treating them like minors. Especially if it means someone else is footing all the bills. Am I the arsehole? Now we've covered stories like this before where you're charging your children, or albeit adults in this situation, rent in your place. And I remember talking about me growing up and my parents charging me rent as I started working. And some people were blown away. They were like, Mark, your parents charging you rent? That's absolutely awful. And I was like, nah, I didn't find it awful at all. They were charging me peanuts. I think it was like £200 a month. But charging me that £200 a month gave me pause for thought on how I'm going to be using my money and budgeting that money appropriately for that. And they was doing a hell of a lot. I mean, they was doing all my washing, they was cooking every single dinner that I had, all sorts, all the shopping, everything. I gotta say, I find it a bit weird that she wanted to be a stay-at-home mum until they graduated. I mean, 19-year-old, 22-year-old, do they really need a stay-at-home mum still? And I may be wrong with this comment, but it just feels like you're not setting them up well for the future in this particular scenario by treating them this way. And I'm not saying you should make their life terrible and charge them tons of money and make them do everything, but make them have responsibility for their own lives. I mean, 19 and 22 years old, holy moly. But Nathan Poe says, in quotes, it was really important to my wife to be a stay-at-home mum until they graduated. And says, not the arsehole, your wife clearly does not want to or intend to ever work again. Insisting on being a stay-at-home mum while children are in high school is ridiculous, and they are years beyond graduation at this point. Funny how their father is off the hook for support now, but you are still paying through the nose to support his kids. Ugh, why username says not the arsehole, they absolutely should contribute. The biggest issue here is your wife not having a job though. How was she supporting herself before? Opie replies saying she had lived with her parents after their divorce and only worked part-time while they were at school. Her parents are nice but bend over backwards for her since she's the only one of their kids that had kids. Entertainment OK says not the arsehole, it's very simple. It's no longer viable for you to be the sole breadwinner. Either because the expenses are too high and or you simply want to set aside some money so you don't have to be constantly worried. There are actual several solutions which can be combined. The grown children move into their dad's place. Their dad contributes money for his children. Wife gets a job, children get a job. Grandparents pay for their grandchildren. Do not back down. Your health and financial health matter too. Maybe you deserve to be the stay-at-home person for a day or 2 per week. Your wife didn't need to be a stay-at-home mum to her kids. She wanted to. Now she is a stay-at-home wife. Fine if you can afford it, not cool when you can't. Plenty of women and men take care of their kids, raise them well, and work. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Not the arsehole, you're the arsehole, everyone sucks here. Maybe a different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, as always, a huge thank you to each and every single one of you for spending your time here today, getting involved in the channel, showing your love, time, and support as always is just incredible. Thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today